What's cracking, everybody? Rose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Welcome, one and all, to the Season of Light. We are here. These are some of my first battles, showing off the newly buffed OPAF Lanturn. Got Surf in the new update. It's so good. It's so bulky, the typing, it's such a good core breaker. It was already, but it needed that low energy move in Surf to give it some water damage that wasn't Hydro Pump, and it is absolutely stunning now. And we've got a double flyer team because Lanturn cores extremely well with Altaria and Noctowl, so figured to just throw them together on a team, see what happened. And we had a good 7-3 run to start the season off, so let's jump straight into the battles and see just how well Lanturn does in the Open Great League. Let's go. Lanturn into Jellicent, this is already pretty good. It's kind of neutral, and because I'm running Water Gun, it's not as great, so I do dip immediately into Altaria to try and see what I can do. My opponent brings in a Whimsicott. You couldn't hard counter this team any harder right now. So we've got Altaria is going to be able to threaten shields with Sky Attack, however, so my opponent is going to shield this up. And at this point, I'm just going to go down. There's nothing else I can do. And I don't really have a choice here other than to bring in my Noctowl, because as a grass type, Whimsicott kind of destroys the Lanturn Altaria core here. So I am going to come in a shield because I'm expecting a Moonblast here. And then I do need to continue to farm, but I realize that those charms are going to add up a lot faster, so I do need to put some pressure with the Sky Attack, hoping to either get a shield or take out this Whimsicott before it goes too crazy. And it takes out the Whimsicott. So Whimsicott by itself is taking out half my team, but I'm hoping that they have something in the back that I can handle with my Lanturn. Now, because it's one shields and Lanturn is so bulky, I can go straight for the Thunderbolt here and do plenty of damage. And my opponent's Jirachi, if I can land a Shadow Ball with Noctowl, I'm looking pretty good. So Thunderbolt comes through and does a ton of damage to this thing. Why did my Kaboom button not go off? Oh, this is going to be sad. If we have to do another video without the Kaboom button, I'm going to be a sad boy. So Lanturn, or the Jellicent goes down, and it's all up to Lanturn and Noctowl to take out this Jirachi while I'm sitting here trying to get my button to work here. There we go. It's a late Kaboom, but we got it in. And now I'm gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna leave it alone, so hopefully next time it works. So we're throwing Surfs, Jirachi. Essentially, my game plan here is to try and get this thing out, but my opponent doesn't shield. I think they just kind of knew they lost there, so they lost. But my plan there was to try and save the shield for Noctowl to get the Jirachi down with a Shadow Ball. So Medicham lead, want to safe swap in Altaria here. Typically I safe swap the Altaria because the harder answer to Lanturn is usually going to be the Trevenant, and I'd rather keep the Noctowl locked and loaded for if there's a Trevenant. And my opponent brings in a Registeel here now. I'm running some super meta teams. These people aren't even trying the new stuff, man. You got to try out the new stuff. This is the fun stuff. Registeel actually isn't as terrible as it looks for Altaria, because of the fact that Registeel recently got the guaranteed buff removed from Zap Cannon, so it doesn't have the 100% chance. Now it's only 66, and you know that if you watched my video about the move updates, which is definitely something you should go check out if you haven't immersed yourself in all the changes in the season yet. But Focus Blast does take out my Altaria here. I don't want to win switch at the cost of both my shields, but I can just farm down with Lanturn, and I'm looking good. Now Medicham's a pretty neutral lead here, so I'm going to dip straight into Medicham because I know that my energy is not going to be as impactful. I'd rather maybe give my give my Lanturn a chance to farm up a bit more first. Now Ice Punch does come through, and then my opponent has a Mandibuzz, and this is looking really tough because Mandibuzz is just so neutral and so bulky to the rest of my team, and Lanturn really doesn't have a whole lot of pressure to put on it because it's not running Spark. So I am most likely losing here at this point. When this Mandibuzz came out, I kind of figured that out. But anyway, I'm going to try my darndest to try and, make something happen here. Maybe save some energy or some health. Maybe try and land a Sky Attack later on the Medicham. But for the most part here, I'm going to just swap in my Lanturn when I get the chance to, if I can. Nope. Switch Clock's not up. Opponent through energy. I am going to let my Noctowl go down and put all of my hopes and dreams into my Lanturn here, which I actually could just throw Surfs now. It's actually in range of just throwing Surfs. I also know that since the Medicham is running Ice Punch and they just threw it, they're probably not doing too hot on energy. So if I can get rid of this Mandibuzz I could probably do okay here. And if Medicham doesn't get to a Psychic, I'm also totally fine here. Now, they come in with the Medicham, so if they land a Psychic, I am SOL. But I'm going to continue to farm up and try and get 2 Surfs off here. I know that if I can get a couple Surfs off and they don't have or get to the Psychic, I have a chance. But with 1 HP, the Medicham gets to a charge move, and if it's the Psychic, I'm boned. And it's the Psychic. That's going to be it, because now that Mandibuzz with a shield can definitely take out my team. So if I can farm down, which I'm not going to be able to, that's very well played by my opponent here. The fact that they were able to get that charge move off essentially won them the entire game, which goes to show just how bulky Medicham is too. Medicham's just too strong, and it's going to be one of those meta mainstays that you're going to see a long, long time from now as well. So good games to my opponent, though. Very close in the end. Well played. Got this next one here. We got the Lanturn up against a Victorybell. You couldn't ask for a worse lead, but my backline is equipped to handle it. But I bet you my left... I'm not even going to finish that sentence. I bet you they got a Bastiodon in the back, and look, there it is. Bastiodon comes in, gets to farm me all the way down. Lanturn then has to deal with the fact that it's aligned to the Victorybell, and also the fact that the Bastiodon is going to get a full farm off me. So, yeah. Thankfully, though, the dragon damage from Dragon Breath and the Moonblast do a decent amount to the Bastiodon, and my opponent decides here to throw energy instead of farming me all the way down, which I thought was interesting. But they did a no-charge move, so I'm going to still be able to get this Moonblast off, and they're only going to get a few more smackdowns. And typically, if you're the Bastiodon player, you definitely want to farm all the way down. It's not worth throwing the energy, because then you can threaten whatever comes in next with just about 2 charge moves at that point. But Lanturn's going to come in here. I'm no shielding this because it's just a Stone Edge, and I'm not worried about it. Yeah, it doesn't do a whole ton of damage. Lanturn is super thick, dude. It's so bulky, it's insane. But I am going to go ahead and throw a Surf here right before they would get to a charge move. Nope, I'm going to let them get the charge move. And then just shield. So what I want to do here is I want to be able to actually threaten a shield off of this Victorybell, which is, it's going to suck, but I have to do it. Because my opponent still got 2 shields, and the Bastiodon by itself took out almost 2/3 of my team. So I'm going to come in, and they have a Medicham in the back, so I have a glimmer of hope here. If I can just maneuver my way around this Medicham, and... Sorry. You're fine, I just thought you were excited. So it's going to be like, yay, and then you were like, no, shoot. Sky Attack's going to come off of my Noctowl. Essentially, what I have to do here is I've got to maneuver myself around this Medicham and try and get somehow to land a Sky Attack or something on this opponent's Victorybell. And if I can't do that, then I'm screwed. But my opponent's going straight Power Up Punch here. So I'm saving my shield, and I am actually going to be able to get to a Sky Attack here, and this is worth a shield to me, because I know that the opponent's Shadow Victorybell is actually going to be, the damage is resisted from those Razor Leafs, so I should be able to get 1 or 2 more of these Razor Leafs, or I should be able to survive 1 or 2 Razor Leafs, I thought, but I can't. So now I've got 2 Surfs, and I have to hope that maybe the Thunderbolt's going to be enough before I go down. I'm going to get the shield with the Surf, and then the Thunderbolt is going to be resisted, but it's the only thing that I've got left at this point to hit this opponent with. So are we going to get it? Is Shadow Victorybell enough? No, it's just not squishy enough. Opponent's going to take that one out. Good game. Completely hard countered until that Medicham came out, and there was nothing I could do about the 2 shields. If I was able to get a shield somewhere, then maybe. But this is what we're talking about right here. This is why I run Water Gun. Because G-Fisk and Registeel both have horrible matchups against Lanturn if you're running the Water Gun variant. I wouldn't say horrible, but they do lose, and that's the important thing, is because you need, if you're going to run Lanturn with double flyers, you have to be able to beat the steel types, and that's what the Water Gun variant of Lanturn is going to do for you. It's better than the Spark variant if you're dealing with these bulky steel types. Now, if you're running, like, you know, an Azumarill aspected line of, you know, maybe you have something in the back, you know, back line like Double Dark or something, then you'd want to run something like Spark because you want that better matchup against Azumarill. But I'm going to waste both of my shields here because when I usually see a G-Fisk, I'm expecting there to be a Trevenant, and I'm expecting there to be an Azumarill in the back. It's just a very common thing. The opponent just quits. Which is really funny because Altaria would not have done well against the rest of that team. So we got a Shadow Mawile in the lead. Now I have to wonder if they're running Fairy Wind or Fire Fang, and they are indeed running Fire Fang, which makes this an extremely good matchup for me, resisting these Fire Fangs and the opponent not getting energy very quickly. Now, I was hoping to see a Fairy Wind Mawile, because I kind of wanted to see how we did against this, but opponent is going to be able to get to a charge move here right before they go down at 10, I believe, is the Iron Head, so I will shield even though it's resisted. Shadow Mawile does hurt a lot, and the fact that they're not swapping out in this obviously bad matchup means they've probably got something in the back that's actually really good against my my Lanturn, or really bad against my Lanturn, I should say. And they have a Politoed, which isn't great, but it's not a good response. So I don't care if it's a Blizzard, they can be a Blizzard, but that's fine. Opponent's got Surf on Politoed, which I actually like. I like the Surf on Politoed because it's a little bit more damage for just about the same energy as Weather Ball, but not in Great League. I would rather have the spammier, slightly less hitting charge move in Great League because things are not as bulky, but it's a heads-up play in Ultra League, I think. So, just some food for thought for all y'all out there who are watching this. So, we've got Politoed here running Surf. They just said, I don't want my Buzzwole locked in against this Altaria, so I'm going to get it locked in against this Surf Politoed instead. They're probably running Surf Earthquake, I imagine. That would be the only thing. But, I mean, Surf, honestly, is doing respectable amounts to my Altaria because it's that Shadow, but I got double Sky Attack, and that's going to be able to one-shot the Buzzwole. And you know what's going to happen here? I'm going to try and make this button work. Let's Prage. Cross the fingers if this button works again, because this would KO at least 3 Buzzwoles. Easily. Right? Sky Attack comes through, Altaria is clinching the game for us. And the button works, and we get a one-shot Buzzwole. Good game, well played. Alright, next game's up here. We got an Altaria lead. This is really, really tricky for this team. This is where I would safe swap in the Noctowl sometimes, but I decided to opt for the Altaria swap in here. I want to put some more pressure on my opponent here. And I know that this is just a Sky Attack, so what I'm essentially looking to do here is I'm trying to get this Altaria low and get a shield off of them. I know that since this was just Sky Attack, I'm not actually going to need to worry about shielding because it's not going to take me out. And I know there's no way I'm going to come out of this and win Switch or anything. So I'm going to go for the Moonblast for the guaranteed shield or KO. And the opponent does shield. So that leaves me with a Lanturn and a Noctowl with a shield up. So I have to wonder what's in the back. My opponent maybe has, maybe a Toxicroak or another fighter. Typically the Altaria line has maybe Registeel in the back as well. So just kind of some things that I'm expecting on this team here. So I do come in with the Lanturn to try and get some energy gains here. But unfortunately, because Water Gun is resisted by Altaria's Dragon typing, I'm not going to be able to do a full farm down of any kind or anything like that. So Surf is going to come through, and they gets the other shield, which is really interesting. So I'm wondering if maybe they're also weak in the back to Lanturn, and they come in with a Cofagrigus, which is not what you want to come into against a Noctowl with Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball is going to come through and probably do a lot of damage to this thing. Let's get this. Let's see. Shadow Ball! Tons of damage on the Cofagrigus, and I'm going to be able to farm down because Cofagrigus' Dark Pulse or Psychic is not going to do nearly enough damage to threaten the health of my Noctowl. It's just going to farm down, and then we're going to see what they got in the back, because Altaria is so low that I could just farm that down as well. And they come in to try and throw a Sky Attack. I do shield it because I figure they've probably got something weak in the back to Noctowl, so let's just go and figure out what it is. Farm down with Noctowl, and I've got 2 charge moves just about loaded, about 95 energy, and it's a Registeel. Oh, that is not what I was expecting to have in the back here. I'm surprised that they wouldn't have brought that into Altaria instead of leaving the Altaria in. So I'm going to throw these 2 Shadow Balls. And I'm going to let my opponent get up to a Zap Cannon or a Focus Blast or whatever they want to do and take me out. Or I can swap in Lanturn. So there's 2 trains of thought here, right? Either way, I'm going to win this game, because Lanturn can take a charge move from Registeel, no problem. So I'm going to let it go. Obviously, I don't have a choice. Zap Cannon hits hard, but Surf is going to hit back, and this is why the Spark version is not as potent against Registeel, is because you outpace them to charge moves, and those Surfs do a lot of damage when coupled with Water Gun. But well played. Very good game to my opponent. So coming into this next game, and there's some spice to be had down here in the low ranks, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't having it. Apparently, I was going to get all of the people running these really, meta teams. So I guess this is a good test for Lanturn, because there was no way that I was going to be able to. I think I saw maybe two, 3 people running completely casual spice, like not people that are actually trying to climb ranking. Like usually you see that kind of stuff on day 1, like people running like Floatzel and Jinx. I think I maybe played against like 2 of those people, which is still fun to play against because you're like, wow, this is really an interesting thing. I have no idea what to expect. Floatzel has Hydro Pump. Well, that wouldn't one-shot me if I didn't shield it, so there's some interesting stuff here. But I let the Skarmory here take me out. I'm looking to do a full farm down with Lanturn here because I know that Skarmory doesn't really have any pressure against my Lanturn. Kind of even expecting a Brave Bird here, but I think my opponent just goes straight for the Sky Attack anyway. Which is all resisted damage. There's nothing that they can do to me that is really worrying me, but the Swampert comes in, and I should be able to get to a second Surf here before my opponent even gets to an Earthquake. And what I'm actually going to maybe try to do here is catch this Earthquake on my Noctowl, but they get to a move before I do, and I just let them go because I actually don't think I counted up to an Earthquake here. And they go for a Hydro Cannon bait. And I think at this point, either way, I think I was set to just let them have it, but I'm going to try... Nope, Surf. So they have the ability to now throw on alignment and get me with a Hydro Cannon. At this point, I'm just going to let it go. The energy it's not worth it. I'd rather keep 2 shield Noctowl alive for whatever that might be in the back, because I know that Noctowl with 2 shields is incredibly bulky and very hard to deal with. And they've still got what their lead was, but honestly, you have to see what's in the back. That's what's going to be the big deal here. So let's see what the opponent comes in with here. They do come back in with the Skarmory, and at this point, I feel like they're either trying to waste my energy or they're weak to me in the back. So there's a solid chance that Skarmory might be covering for something in the back, and it's the Scrafty once again. That's right, they showed me their whole team, and I'm over here being all like distracted and whatnot. So opponent can go for foul play, they can go for counter here. Either way, they're not going to be able to put out enough damage to deal with my Noctowl with a shield, and we see MP tie here. Sky Attack is going to do tons of damage, and this is pretty much a big fat dub for Noctowl here. Just gonna have to shield once, get to the Sky Attack, and that's gonna take out the Scrafty, and that is going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Almost essentially RPSing me here in a way. The Scrafty unfortunately was neutral against Lanturn, and the Flyers were gonna be able to take care of it, but we took it out there. Took it out to Scrafty. Well played. Lanturn into Ariados. So this is again another neutral situation with my backline being the better answer. So I'll pop out and safe swap usually in this situation, but what I want to do in this case is I actually want to get some damage and some energy on my Lanturn and let them hit me with a lunge, and then I'll swap out. Reason why I do that is because it gives Lanturn a little bit more flexibility later in the game when my opponent has something else and I have some energy, which makes it better for me that way. And there's always a chance that I just might not be able to farm something all the way down, because typically poison types are paired with dark types like Umbreon. So this Umbreon is, however, weak to fairy type moves, which is what gives my Altaria the edge here. If Altaria can hit it with a Moonblast, it's going to do some decent chunk damage here, and those Dragon Breaths add up very quickly. So we're going to continue to just throw down with this Umbreon to get the foul plays are going to outpace quite a lot, actually. And I'm not exactly looking to win this matchup, because once again, like I said, Ariados is neutral to Lanturn, so Lanturn with some energy is going to be able to put plenty of pressure on that Spider. Now, we are at the Moonblast, so I'm going to throw it right before my opponent gets to a charge move. I've been practicing my rear end off with these one-turn charge moves, and I have to, because some of them they're just so tricky to deal with, man. It's just you've got to really practice yourself with these moves in order to get a good use out of them. But opponent brings in a Swampert, is committing to hard farming down my Altaria. That is troublesome. They are going to get a shield, or we are going to get a shield, and they're going to get 100 energy on their Swampert, no problem. So what do we do here? We got to come up with Noctowl, right? Because if they've got Earthquake, they can hit my Lanturn and just about one-shot it. I know Lanturn can comfortably tank a couple of Hydro Cannons before it needs to start shielding, and I'm up a shield, and I know that the only thing that they've got left is that Spider. So if I can just land a Surf or a Thunderbolt on the Spider, Noctowl is enough pressure to keep the Spider in the back, and I have 2 shields with which to just be able to really just say, go back in your ball. Right, so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to try and catch this Hydro Cannon. I know that at this point the Swampert is so low that I'm easily going to be able to just water gun things down here. Opponent's Spider comes in. Ariados is going to be able to get up to a couple charge moves here. Water Gun, while it does do some decent move damage, is not going to be able to put a lot of energy in my pocket here. So I don't think I'm getting to another Surf before they get there. And do I leave the shield? No. My plan here is to save the shield for the Noctowl, farm down the Ariados, and I'm going to be able to, hopefully, no, not quite, going to be able to farm down the Ariados, or get the 2 Sky Attacks, whichever one comes first. Now, I've got 2 Sky Attacks here, and I'm just going to launch them back-to-back. Swampert can throw Hydro Cannon at me if it wants to. I'm still just going to be able to shield it and hit that back with the Sky Attack, and that is going to be a good game. Really close one, too. Well played to my opponent. Takes it out. And I'm loving this Battle Pass. I'm loving it. You know what? The interlude season, we got a decent idea for a Battle Pass, but the wins, obviously, the longer you went, the worse. This is terrible lead, by the way. I'm going straight to Altaria here. I have to commend Niantic for giving us a not crappy Battle Pass. It's a Charmer, by the way. We love Grand Bull. We hate Grand Bull. What's a... God. Man. Get out of here, Grand Bull. Nobody likes you. So... When it comes to this Battle Pass, I appreciate it. Make sure you go grab it in the shop, by the way, if you haven't. It's free. It's completely free. You just get a bunch of Stardust, some Elite TMs at the end of it. There's like 5 pages. So if you get 500 wins this season, you're sitting pretty with some good rewards for it. It's completely free. No reason not to grab it. I'm throwing a Surf here before the opponent's Grand Bull would get to a crunch, just so I can either get a shield out of them. And they decide not to shield. They're like, nah, I can just realign my Trevenant to your Lanturn and be fine. And because Grand Bull has no charge moves, the switch timer is still clicking down for me. So I have to shield this because I was not going to be able to get away. And the opponent's got a Wall Rain, and this person is playing the Wall Rain. This is an absolutely devastating RPS loss for me. There was no way I was coming out of this one. Opponent just completely had me by the throat the entire game with completely unwinnable matchups. You get it. You love to see it. GBL, is that you? Yes, it is, because this is what happens at least 5 times a day. And it's okay. You know, it's okay. As long as your team is solid, you can still get most of these wins, right? You're not going to be able to win a game like this. There was no way. I had no win condition here. But just remember, as you play through your games in GBL, that if it was a team comp loss, nothing you can do about it. Reevaluate the way that you played it, though. Go back and watch it. I know from watching this back that there was no way I was winning this game. But there's a couple of games maybe back in the beginning where if I played them a little differently, I could have eked out a win. Maybe. Just remember, tips for self-improvement. You don't have to get me for coaching for that, but just something to keep in mind, you know? Speaking of coaching, though, I do offer coaching on Metafy, link in the description for that, as well as a patron Discord that you can join and get all of the hot new teams and tips and everything else you need to know to win all your... Oh, I can't say all of your games. Win most of your games this season, or at least get a huge boost in the way you play. Both the coaching and the patron Discord are excellent ways to do that, so check those out, and appreciate it if you want to give that a look. So we've got a Lickitung here. Now, Lickitung actually can beat Altaria in these one shield matchups, but what I'm not looking to do here is looking to win. I'm looking to just, you know, give something some farm here, you know. The Altaria safe swap is super solid. I could win switch here if I wanted to, because they tanked that first move, but because... Well, I don't know, did they? I'm too busy plugging myself. I'm not paying attention. So I'm going for Moonblast here, and the reason why I don't go for Sky Attack is because Moonblast is harder hitting, and if I can get the opponent's guaranteed shields or guaranteed damage, I think I prefer that a little bit more. Just because that's going to leave me in a position at the end game where now I'm up a shield, and I can come in with Lanturn. I could have also come in with my Noctowl too. It doesn't really matter as much, but I know that if they're energy dry, I'm getting to that Surf. Actually, I don't think I even get to the Surf. I think the water, I think Surf is a little bit more than Body Slam. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They have to get to essentially a... I love this game. They have to essentially get to a power up to take out my Lanturn, so they're not going to throw the Body Slam. So I'm just going to get the Surf off. And then Victorybell and Medicham are both going to get destroyed by Noctowl, and you love to see it, because this Victorybell is going to be the last thing in the game, or in this video, that gets hit with a charge move. And you know what? It's going to get a kaboom, and I'm waiting for it. Here it comes. We're going to farm down this Medicham. Nope, they're going to get to a charge move. We're not going to farm down this Medicham, at least not until they get to a charge move anyway. Once we get to a charge move, though, we're going to go ahead and just blast this Victorybell out of here. Here comes the Sky Attack. On the Victorybell, this is going to be a good game. I would say it was well played, but you had Shadow Victorybell. Get out of here. You love to see it. Good games to these opponents in this early rankings. Don't play meta teams, man. Go enjoy the new stuff. Go experiment. There's no use sticking to the same old stuff, because a lot of the new stuff beats the old stuff. This Lanturn here beats Registeel. You ain't going to go play Registeel if you could go get smacked around by a Lanturn, would you? But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.